Hello, my wonderful viewers, and welcome to another episode of Betty Adams Overanalyzes. Today, we are going to take a look at Kaiju number 8, a very close look at Kaiju number 8, in fact, because we are looking at why didn't Kafka transform in chapter 42. All right. Now, this may seem like a fairly simple question. I mean, after all, Kaiju number 9 popped up right then. Kaiju number 9 probably sensed the energy surge from his attempt at a full transformation and threw up some kind of interference field, just like he does to trap people in his no-go zone. But that was only one possibility, and it is the most obvious possibility on the surface, but I've learned to be very, very suspicious of obvious possibilities with Matsumoto, because Matsumoto is generally hiding a major plot point behind these common tropes. So, option number 1, Kaiju number 9 got Kafka's frequency, he got his... what was the exact phrase he used way back in chapter 19 it was, when Kafka finished beating the snot out of him and Kaiju number 9 escaped? He said, "I have your profile now," which might have meant he knows that Kafka's human and he knows this behavior pattern, or it might mean that Kaiju number 9 knew Kaiju number 8's energy profile, and on sensing Kaiju number 8's energy profile about to power up, Kaiju number 9 sent up some sort of force field to interfere with it. That's the obvious thing going here, but so many things are hidden behind obvious things. So, option number 2, which will have two variants that I'll get into. Option number 2, something is physically wrong and Kafka physically can't transform. The first one being that Kafka did damage the core when he stabbed himself in the chest, or that the damage that Kaiju number 8 took from Commander Shinomiya was too great. So the little kaiju that's curled around Kafka's heart right now, fought Director General Shinomiya in the hurt room and took a lot of damage, had to regenerate his entire body once, had to regenerate various limbs multiple times, and just took a lot of damage that would have had to be regenerated to be healed. And you could tell that Kaiju number 8 was in a lot of pain. He was actively suffering. In fact, Kaiju number 8 also looked like he was overheating. Now, we know that Kaiju cool off by expelling superheated water from their bodies. And we've seen how Kaiju number 8 does this. He spits it out his nipples. And that's how he cools down after a combat or a transformation sequence. And Kaiju number 8 had been battling a lot harder this time, and he didn't expel any steam. Now, it could be because he didn't have any steam to expel. Before he expelled steam that first time, he had to eat a crow, and presumably doing it to absorb the fluids. But it also might be that Kaiju number 8 was so traumatized by Kafka's negative reaction to venting the steam that he doesn't do it anymore. This is kind of based off the theory that I've been batting around with a couple other people like Cold and Concerned or Blue Green Phoenix, that Kaiju number 8, or the little guy that causes Kaiju number 8, is something of a child soldier. His intelligence is that, and emotional status is that of a child, and he's learning from Kafka and imprinting on Kafka and Reno, and that when Kafka reacted so negatively to the steam venting, the little guy decided, well, I'm not going to steam vent anymore. Clearly, that's a bad thing. So during the fight with General Shinomiya, a massive fight where he didn't vent any steam. Kaiju number 8 did not vent steam during that fight, but there are multiple scenes where Kaiju number 8 was drawn as showing all the signs of heat stress. Slouched shoulders, irrationality, mouth gaping open. He just looked hot and tired. And so it's possible that between the possible overheating, between the damage he took from Shinomiya, between Kafka just literally stabbing the core, it's quite likely that the little guy simply can no longer transform Kafka's body, because the little guy has to open that portal to the pocket space where he pulls Kafka's body during the transformation. And while the little guy might have had it recovered enough to do a partial transformation, it's entirely possible that the little guy simply cannot pull off the full transformation into Kaiju number 8. Now, the flip side of this coin, which really makes it not an either or, but an if and, it's possible that Kafka's body is no longer up to transforming into Kaiju number 8. Now, the series made a big point of Kafka's dad bod at the beginning of the series. It did an entire bathroom scene to bring it into focus. And Kafka no longer has that dad bod. And he'd been doing a lot of heavy working out before he was accepted into the Defense Force, but he didn't really start to lose his dad bod until after the punching the kaiju bomb. It was immediately after that I noticed that he didn't seem to have a gut anymore. He was svelte. And then after the fight with General Director Shinomiya, he's even svelter. He's down to basically just pure muscle. And in the scene here in chapter 42, you can see that he's looking almost scrawny. I mean, he's strong and tough, but he's just pure muscle at this point. And that would suggest to me that fat went somewhere that it wasn't going before that. Then the clear implication here is that the transformation eats up the fat. And if Kafka does not have enough fat on his bones, if he doesn't have that dad bod to provide the little guy with the fuel to transform and form Kaiju number 8 and support the Kaiju number 8 body throughout the combat, it might be just a matter of there's no gas in the engine's not going to turn over. And so that might be it. Either Kafka or the little guy or both of them are just not in the shape to fight the kaiju. Remember, it's only been 5 days since Kafka woke up from his induced medical coma, and not that much longer since he got out, since he fought Director General Shinomiya and punched that bomb, taking all of that tremendous amount of damage you get from punching a bomb and then having it explode over your head. So that's option number 2. If this wasn't Kaiju number 9's doing, it's quite possible that neither Kafka nor the little guy have the energy or the physicality to transform into Kaiju number 8 at the moment. Now, option number 3 is a little bit different from the either two. It is possible that they are still physically capable of transforming, but the little guy doesn't want to. Again, this harkens back to my concept that the little guy is a child soldier. He's just a young, impressionable intelligence, like a toddler. He's imprinted on Kafka and Reno, and he accepts and he thinks of them as having affection for him, of being kind of in charge of him, and he's imprinting on their behavior. And in this case, the little guy is just hurt and confused and scared, or possibly even offended, because he was just trying to protect Kafka from a Daikaiju in that hurt locker. So in the previous 2 battles with Kaiju number 9 and Kaiju number 10, and every previous battle with the Kaiju, the little guy would transform Kafka, battle the Kaiju, and then get a rush of happy endorphins, like the sense of satisfaction that Kafka had saved somebody, saved everybody. But now there's a Daikaiju right in front of him. Kafka's refusing to battle it, so the little guy takes over when Kafka fails and fights the Daikaiju. And instead of being grateful, instead of getting that happy rush of endorphins, Kafka's horrified. And so it could be that the little guy inside of Kafka is just hurt and offended, and he might be confused. Like last time we went to fight a Daikaiju, Kafka nearly killed them. Kafka drove his fingers into his chest, damaged the core, so the little guy might be terrified that Kafka's going to attack him again if he goes to fight another Daikaiju. Because remember, he was able to transform to fight the minor kaiju, but right before a Daikaiju showed up, that's when the transformation failed. So the little guy might be under the impression that he's not supposed to fight Daikaiju anymore. This might be also added to the fact that Kafka didn't directly engage Kaiju number 10. The little guy might be under the impression that certain Daikaiju are off limits. Or the little guy might be resentful and he's like, deal with this on your own. Last time I tried to help you deal with a Daikaiju, you bloody stabbed me. So, those are my three or four theories for why Kafka was unable to transform. Either he physically can't, emotionally can't, or that Kaiju number 9 is blocking him. And on the other coin side of the little guy having an emotional trauma, it's possible that Kafka's emotional trauma is preventing him from transforming. I don't think that's the way the author is going to go. I just don't feel it at this point, but I suppose I should mention it. Kafka did have that flashback to when he was nearly killing Director Shinomiya, or more importantly, Kikoro's father, during the battle scene. So he might just been Kafka might have been too traumatized to make the transformation. So those are my 3 theories. physical trauma, mental trauma, and Kaiju number 9 just mucking things up like he usually does. So what do you think? Why do you think Kaiju number 8 wasn't able to transform in chapter 42? All right, leave a comment below the video telling me what you think. Hit that like and subscribe button, and check out the links below the video if you want a copy of my book, Humans Are Weird, I Have the Data, Monty Python meets Star Trek in this book of human absurdity, available everywhere where books are sold. Physical book, electronic book, and audiobook. So peace out, my wonderful viewers.
The book from author Betty Adams, Humans Are Weird, I Have the Data, is a humorous look at human behavior through the eyes of aliens. This book is arranged in separate reports or essays, documenting the experiences with humanity through the lens of the aliens who have to interact with them. This anthology of short stories and vignettes from alien points of view highlights some of humanity's quirks we can all relate to. Author Betty Adams captures how strange and interesting humans can really be. This is a fun collection of stories you will really get a kick out of. Humans Are Weird, I Have the Data, from author Betty Adams. Order your copy right now on Amazon.